Welcome to the cutting room floor where we peel back the curtain on the films, documentaries, and theatrical performances that resonate with us to reveal the behind the scenes and discover the stories that didn't make the cut but should have. Today's another exciting episode with an A-list Nollywood actor who has made his way into the international scene with his flair for translating stories that deeply connect. He has lived every side of the entertainment industry. He began his career as a model, then became a TV presenter, and now acts, produces, and directs films. You may have seen him on your screen as the unforgettable actor Ade Tiger in the popular Netflix production King of Boys. But now he's behind a successful international film, Color of Love, a diversity-themed project shot entirely here in Canada that's already touring film festivals and winning awards. A true representation of cross-cultural storytelling. Please welcome to the show, Titi Kuti. I better give you flowers.
What an introduction. What an introduction.
So first, let me say that if you find me tilting my head to the left, it's because I really have another screen here where Titi appears way bigger than my laptop. He's connecting with us virtually from Maryland, America. Is that correct, Titi? Washington in America. So it's good to have you on the show today. And let's begin with you. You started off as a model and you've done a couple of things in the media industry before even venturing into the global filmmaking space. For a young man who had made decisions here and there, what was a turning point that really helped you shape your career as such where you are today?
Well, I can't say that it's been just one turning point. There's been several of them. Every junction has had its transitional moments that moved me from one step to the other. So in the career spanning about 20 years now, professionally, I'll be unrealistic if I were to mention just one junction. There's been several transitional moments that were pivotal to my growth and progression. Starting from transitioning from modeling to television, and from television to acting, from acting to producing. I was in the producing space for about 7-8 years, producing big format shows back in Africa back then. I think the first one I did was Techno on the stage. It was West African Idols, I remember. So I did West African Idols, I did The Voice Nigeria, I did Football Legends, all of this were...
Were you on The Voice Nigeria?
So what?
You were on The Voice Nigeria?
I was, yes.
Were you one of the competitors? Were you a singer at the time?
No, I was an associate producer.
Oh, nice. Great.
Yes, I went to South Africa with them and all of that. So yes, I was on the Voice project.
Oh, you've actually been in places that really matter. So good for you.
Yes. So
now,
the point is, I've learned production, the back end of production, before I became largely popular. So which is why a lot of people, it tends to find it surprising that I'm able to produce films of my own, now, because I came into the limelight more as an actor from King of Boys. But people who function in the industry in Nigeria have known me around for much, much longer. Okay. You understand?
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so there's something about acting. It just puts you in the limelight, and people get to call you most of the names you were called when you were playing a character. Like for me, I saw you at Indefest. I said that is Ade. I didn't think of anything. I was like, that is a day, right? Of course, I know you're Titi Kuti, but then that's your name. And now that you have worked in Nigeria and now in Canada, I'm sure people would have, those in Nigeria will know you as a day, those in Canada will know you as, I've forgotten to cut your name in your new movie, but we're not even telling yet because the film is not yet fully released, for cinema, so that's okay, right? My point is, you have toured these creative countries doing film. What lessons have you learned becoming a cross-cultural producer and director?
Okay, so the lessons are still transitional too. I would say that I've always understood that part of the future of Nollywood is in the diaspora, because now we have a vast number of people from different cultures who all live abroad now, that have their stories to tell. So the story has expanded just beyond Nigeria and the cultural identities that are peculiar to the Nigerian terrain. Now you have people who have their immigration stories that they want to be able to touch on, and we are talking about a market of at least 100 million people across most of the top tier 6 Western countries. So that's always been my perception. Like, look, if you're gonna look ahead into the future of Nollywood, there is no way that you can eliminate the influence of the diversity crowd. And that's what inspired me to make Call of Flock, because I wanted to have a first-hand feeling to challenge myself on what to take to produce a world-class movie outside of Nigeria. And I would say that my experience in Nigeria came me to bear so much, because Nigeria is a rugged terrain. And I'll say it anywhere. Any producer that produces in Nigeria can produce anywhere in the world. So yeah, so I had my fair share of challenges, and at the same time, some things I was doing seemed like magic, because I understood the autopilot system. I've been able to function in production environments that breathe chaos, and I was able to bring those productions to life. And all these things are there online. The credits are there. So it was a great experience. It allowed me understand the scale and magnitude that I need to expand to be able to make a film that can compete with films that are being filmed here, which is what I did with Call of Love. As at the time I made the film, there was no grant or anything, so it was basically personal funded. And then I think one venture capitalist investor who just saw the dream. That was the only financial support I got. Every other thing I did with my money, and it was a lot of money, but it was all for good reason. Because everywhere that I've gone with that film so far, it's been a record credit for not just myself, but for the ethnicity I represent.
Oh, good.
Everybody is always like, who is the producer that made this film? And then eventually when I come up on stage and I see it's actually an African immigrant also, it just makes everything, it makes everything all encompassing. So I'm aiming for the next 4 to 5 years. It's not a short-term project, it's a long-term project. What I've done now serves more of an exhibition purpose, which is why it is still not out in cinemas or for public viewing yet, because the idea is to be able to connect with industry stakeholders and practitioners, that we can at some point collaborate and make something that can really, really compete. Like, we can really tour the Canadian cinemas here, and it's possible. As a matter of fact, everywhere that I've been, people have asked me, you could have just made this a few minutes longer and this will have been a full cinema film. Yeah. And my response to a few minutes longer means every second in filming is budget.
True.
So if I have to expand to accommodate that, it means I'll have to drop quality and standards in certain places just because of. But I would rather not do that. I'm fine with this running as a short play for now. But it shows you, I'm not coming to you with a proposal of right now. I can walk up to anybody that is willing to invest $5 billion, $10 billion in a film project with Call of Love as my resume, and they believe I can pull it off. And that's exactly what the goal was.
So for you, it was strategy, actually. It was strategic for you to release a short film and then, more like introduce yourself as a cross-cultural director who has the ability to do a film that can hit the charts. And right now you've gotten, I think, about 6 awards so far. And then with that, you can seek funding. But I actually thought that you had the City of Brampton supporting you. What was the kind of partnership you had with the City of Brampton?
So it wasn't a financial-based support, but what it did was was fundamental too, because I started production before the mayor found out about me, and because of the scale of what I was doing, he was very curious to know who is this guy that is doing all this here. That he hadn't really seen any production from City on that scale before, and the guy is Mayor Patrick Brown is somebody who always who does everything.
This is a lot, yes.
Yeah, he's always so. He actually came on my location, visited. And, he saw what we were doing. And then from that moment on, he put the guys in his economic development team to keep a tab on me, that he wanted to know exactly when this film was ready. And also, he gave me access to all of Brampton's public facilities to use for free.
Oh, so that's good.
The hospital, the roads, all of the things that would have required lengthy paperwork and approvals. All that process was cut short. So it was significant. It might not have been liquid cash, but what he did save me some money. It allowed me to be able to now expand creatively, because my team was also cross-cultural. I had a DOP who works in Hollywood that worked on the production. So I had people that were called professionals. Everybody was there, and it was a balance of cultures. You had Nigerian immigrants. You had Russian immigrants, you had German immigrants, you had American, all on the same production. Everybody was there because of what they were able to bring to the table. So it was the first like level playing field for everybody to perform without the worry of ethnicity on a production that is owned by an immigrant. So all of that kind of inspired Mayo, and even afterwards, he's done the much he can to try and introduce me to people in Brampton. We live in an environment where it takes a lot to build trust, and trust is what the word is. Trust that you can get the job done, and you shouldn't take it offensively. Some people do, but I don't. I see it as a challenge.
Okay, and yes, on this project, we had the City of Brampton support the project, and the mayor himself was on set to speak to the cast and crew. Here it is.
Mayor Patrick Brown here. Just want to say how proud I am that we have a film like Colors of Love happening in Brampton. And we love films like this that really showcase a positive outlook, that encourage harmony. And that's what this is about. It's about celebrating our mosaic, celebrating our diversity, and it's beautiful to have uplifting films like this to celebrate everyone. And the fact that films that are so positive can be shot and showcased in Brampton is a beautiful thing.
It was very inspiring and very encouraging for the mayor to come in person to support what we are doing here. It's a Canadian story. What we're talking about is diversity on this project. So definitely it's going to touch across a lot of experiences of a lot of people, irrespective of their backgrounds.
I'm very grateful to his appearance here. It shows a lot of, it shows the quality of the movie. It's something that every other person should look forward to, because the movie is big on diversity. So, and the mayor of Brampton is also very big on that as well.
So the crew wasn't expecting it. They were definitely excited to see their mayor in person. It was a morale boost. We've had a very organized shoot so far, but still it's been an additional morale boost. And we're happy that this project is able to get the attention of someone like him, and so much to the extent that he decides to come in person to see what we're doing. The City of Brampton has done so much already for us in respect to supporting us with getting good locations and all of that. They've been overwhelmingly supportive. So it tells the kind of relationship that should exist between the government and people in the creative sector who have the television screen as a medium to spread positive messages.
I need to call Charlotte. I need to tell Charlotte. He don't need you, Charlotte. I need to speak to Charlotte. I need to see Charlotte. I need to tell Charlotte. He don't need you, Charlotte. I need to speak to Charlotte. I need to call Charlotte.
And then also, I wanted to also talk about the film project itself, Color of Love. It's a diversity-themed project, and personally, just from watching the trailer, I could tell that you were trying to help people see that love has no color. But I mean, you are the storyteller. This is your baby here. So lead us through the whole journey. Why did you choose to share about love and being an immigrant yourself? You chose Toronto and City of Brampton. Was there a particular interest in these two cities, and why?
Okay. About the story, I'll start with the first half of your question. As I said, from my perspective, a large portion of the future of Nollywood rests in diversity stories, because you have a ton of immigrants from Nigeria. We have about 20 million immigrants between just the United States and Canada alone, documented immigrants. That these guys have been here. Some of them have been here for 10, 15, 20 years, and the only content that is able to feed their ecosystem is the content that is made back home. There is nothing representing their journey up until where they are.
Yeah.
And people have different experiences. And this it's not peculiar to Nigerians alone. You have other ethnicities also that have similar experiences, maybe in different ways. So, at what point are we going to start telling those stories that will make our people who are based here start watching our own production? Because right now, what you have is you have people who watch their productions back home.
Yeah.
Even the Indian, most of them watch their Indian films made back home because there's really nothing that's been done here that represents them. Most of the Nigerians either watch Nigerian films made back home. So for me, that's the inspiration of the story. Something that can represent that can project the future of what Nollywood as an industry is supposed to look like. With the cross-cultural productions, and at the same time represents the stories of some of the people that have emigrated here. Things that people can resonate with pretty much. And believe me, those stories are endless. Already, I have a 7-episode series written as a continuity for Color of Love. That minus the film. So the film now is an elongated version of what I've shot now. That's done. I now have 7 episodes written already that is supposed to be like a mini series that can run for 50 minutes each. So that just tells you that the stories never stop. The stories there. So that was the inspiration for the story itself. And it's even though it's fictional, the arrangement behind it is something that everybody from every divide can resonate with. And above everything else, it celebrates the mosaic of Canada as a multicultural country.
I mean, you really want to adapt the story into a novel. You want to, by, I think, first quarter of next year, you want to ensure that you have it ready for cinema. So how is that going? And who are you working with to ensure that the project is kept alive and the essence of the story remains the same or even more impactful?
Okay, so about the novel, the inspiration behind the novel was because I personally don't have the funding to make the film yet, or didn't have the funding to make the film at some point. And I wanted to keep the story alive. So instead of while I was going around film festivals, touring film festivals, meeting people and all of that, discussing with potential Indian investors and collaborators, I started to write for the novel. Because the target audience is the generation between 15 and 40, which is the middle-aged, socially mobile generation that also, besides the culture of social media, have a reading culture. So a novel gives an opportunity to be able to connect with maybe like your school. If I want to do a lunch in your school, I can donate some of the books to your school library. The books can be used for thesis or for assignments or even just for entertainment purposes by some of the departments in your school of art, things like that. Basically, because it's not just the story is something that needs to spread as much as possible. So if in places that you might not be able to touch, the book will touch. Like most of the time when I'm traveling, I always read a novel. That's how I pass time. I don't really watch too much movies. I'm always reading something because I'm trying to expand my knowledge. And there are lots of people who are like that too. So I can imagine a time will come when you have 3 out of every 10 Canadian students that has heard or is probably reading Color of Love as a novel. Usually, the novel comes first and then is adapted to a film. But this is the other way around, which on its own is unique too. Because the film came first and now it's been adapted to a novel. And both stories are going to run parallel. So it's not going to be a case of because you have watched the film, you know what's going to happen in your novel. No. And vice versa.
So I was just going to ask that question. That if we've seen the film, what are you going to hide in the novel that we will not be aware of? So if for those who already have seen the film,
yes, well, you're writing. The novel gives you so in this journey because I didn't get a writer to write for me. I wrote it myself. So while writing, I was learning the difference between writing for novels and writing for television. There are 2 different patterns.
I agree.
When you are writing for television, you are writing for a visual audience. When you are writing for a novel, you are writing for the imaginations of people. People are supposed to escape reality and be able to get into your world. So there's a lot more. There are a lot more things that are going to happen in the novel that we might not be able to represent in the film because the film will be too long. But the novel goes deeper. The novel can introduce characters that will suggest continuity in the film. Like, you know, you can read the novel now, you can see a certain character, like, okay, this person, I've not seen this person in the film. That person, it gives the opportunity to be able to continue to expand that story. You know, like the novel touches on backstories of people, some of the characters. So things that you basically cannot put in one film, except you're going to make it a series. And then the trajectory is going to be, the novel is still going to talk about the same characters or maybe some new characters, but it will focus on certain aspects of their lives that the
Okay.
film is not showing. So it's not hiding it. It's just keeping the creative mind you have to be able to feed the imagination of the creative mind that is reading. At the same time, you have to be able to advertise the visual scope of those who are watching. So that there are two different, the people who read books and the people who watch films think two different ways. Their appetite go two different directions, and what it would take to appeal or to borrow a story down into their hearts requires two different skill sets. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm
Yes, you're very clear, and I get it. So, of course, we'll find some surprises in the novel, and of course, the film itself would also serve as a way to resonate with our immigrant experiences. That is a fantastic way to go. Now, I'm really curious. This film has gotten 13 nominations and 6 awards. Could you share with us in details about these nominations and awards?
So the nominations. Basically, when you submit a film for a film festival, there's always a jury that vets that film. Sometimes, depending on how big the film festival is, some festivals have up to 200 films screening. When you watch your film, if your film speaks to a certain purpose or a cause, then they want to spotlight it. So that spotlighting sometimes will come either as honorable mention, it could come as a nomination, or it could come as a straight up award. So there are times that the film, so I submitted to 15 festivals and all out of 15, 13 called back.
Okay.
And all of all these festivals are in Western countries.
We're grateful and we're happy for you and your team, but you're putting so much efforts to produce this project that really resonates deeply with most people. So congratulations again. Now, I noticed you are also a lead cast, or you played a lead role in the film. So I'm wondering, how are you able to manage stamina, creative prowess between being the executive producer and being the lead cast in the project? How were you able to manage yourself playing both roles?
So two things. First is experience. I've functioned at top scale across all those responsibilities on different productions over time. And second is teamwork. I hired competent people, and I hired team-oriented people, such that it was easy to set things on autopilot, and then people could monitor. So the thing about production that a lot of people don't know is that even if you know everything, you cannot do everything alone.
True.
Because there are so many things that need to be running at the same time. And the minute you remove one piece from the lot is a domino effect. The rest of it can't fold. So in as much as you might have experience, or part of your experience would also reflect in the people that you hire as your team. So it was basically those two things. I had the experience to do it. And I was able to find people who here in Canada who were team oriented. And I also I went the extra mile to appreciate their value too, because I think a lot of times that there's this stigma. I won't call it a stigma, but because the industry here is still growing, most of all of our Nollywood practitioners here they depend on themselves for support, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as the only support I wanted from people was commitments, and I found that. But I was able to match that commitment with commensurate remuneration. I paid people to the best that I could.
That's laudable because you actually self-funded this project. That's a lot. I can imagine how much went into it. I don't want to ask you to give us specific numbers, but then you also mentioned that you got some support from the City of Brampton, although not monetary support, but they were able to provide you with some facilities that you could use in the production. And now I can just imagine that there's a lot to film production. So my next question is, for many young creators who are aspiring to delve into filmmaking, although thankfully we now have our phones in our hands and we can do little stuff with the phones, but to go on the scale that you're actually on right now, what would be your advice to them?
So it's passion, purpose, and persistence. Those three things.
The 3 Ps.
Yes, you have to identify filmmaking as your passion first. Beyond the money, beyond the fame, because the creative journey will test you. And if you are there for reasons that are not deeper than the surface, you could get swept up with the tide. So the passion has to be original, it has to be genuine. You have to see filmmaking as your means to leaving a permanent footprint in the sands of time. That's how you have to see it for you to go suddenly. Doesn't mean that, like, there are people who have come and they had one hit wonders and stuff, and then they just faded out, and you're like, where did this person go? That's where you call it, because the fact that passion is not what will create opportunities for you. Opportunities comes, it's sometimes with the universe. People just have opportunity, but when you have passion, you are able to evolve, you're able to transition. So passion comes first. What is the purpose for that passion? Where is it leading you to? What's the end game? Is it something that you are in for the long haul, or is it or for the short term? So that purpose now starts to allow you to strategize. For me, this Color of Love now was a strategy for me. The amount of money it cost me to shoot Color of Love, I could have shot 2 films in Nigeria. I'm not gonna lie to you. I probably could have shot 2 films in Nigeria, and probably I'll be in that space with all of the top tier producers now. But I'm looking to the next 5 years. I'm looking to the next 6 years, and I can see a unique opportunity here in Canada that nobody has taken advantage of yet. It's pretty much still a virgin land, and all you need to do is to plug it in. Because if tomorrow, for some reason, now I'm able to score, let's say, a $10 million grants or venture capital investments for a fiscal period of, say, 5 years. Within that time, the amount of production that I'm going to do would not only provide jobs for people, it will open an avenue for other producers who might have been having their doubts to dare, because somebody is doing it. By the time we have elapsed that time, that money alone should be enough to have created enough material to start off an ecosystem that can self-run.
I really love that you're saying this.
Just with demand and supply.
I apologize. I really love that you're saying this, because the truth is that's the power of starting out. When you start, you're not only opening a chart or a path for yourself, you're opening a pathway for others as well. So thank you for saying yes to this passion. Your love for film, it shows and it shines through. Thank you very much. Now, just before I let you go, I'd like to ask this one question, because I know you did some work in Mexico as well. I think you did Dogs of Mexico, and now you have some work with the UN in the IPGC projects upcoming for next year. For those who were looking to become global or cross-cultural, actors, producers, directors, could you leave them with one word? And I'm going to ask this question because I was listening to an interview with one Hollywood actor, and it was surprising that what drives him today to make the kind of films he makes was something he has held for many years from when he was a child. So I would love to really, go into your brain or your mind right now and say, please give us one piece of advice that can perhaps be that, mantra that we can hold on to for those who want to build across continents.
Okay, so this might go over some people's heads, but I wanted to say it all the same. Originality is not negotiable. That's a very broad statement. And when I say originality, if you're journeying with what you're trying to do, if you're really journeying, that genuinity would undoubtedly attract the right energy. We live in a world, we live in a universe of energy where what you put out is what you get. So as long as you are original with your purpose, for people who really want to do like my work with the UN now, I don't even know if there's an application portal or whatever it is to to work with the UN. I don't know. They discovered me from the things I was doing. So originality is non-negotiable. That's it.
I love that. And on that note, we will end this episode of Cotton Room Floor with the Ade. Ade, who of course his original name is Titi Kuti, has played a couple of roles across Nigeria, Mexico, now in Canada, owning his own project. We wish you good luck. But traditionally, before we leave you on the Cotton Room Floor, we let you see the trailer of the film itself. Today, we're serving you the trailer of the movie Color of Love. Please, it's coming out sometime in the first quarter of next year. Get your tickets. Encourage this young immigrant who's putting his heart and soul into this project. Go see the movie, and of course, feel free to share your comments. All right, I've been your host, Mama Zawonker. Always a pleasure to be your host on this show. Until next time, don't forget, explore your creative prowess. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.
What do you see? Show
What has she done this time?
Same thing she always does. I don't even know why people like that live here.
What? Stop! Police!
Put your hands on your head.
My hands off! I'm not a criminal! I'm not a criminal!